Hey guys, RC Anime here. To me, the moments in anime that feel the most human usually come in the simplest form, with the least amount of camera work, as little edits as possible, and very little to no use of music. Letting these moments play out for a considerate amount of time delivers a sense of authenticity, where the scenes feel like they're playing in real time. For K-On!, especially the second season, this doesn't only help give a sense of reality, but also makes each scene unpredictable. To have it as if they're acting everything out spontaneously and not just following the beats of a script or storyboard. And it's all based on how a character moves. Body language lends us an understanding of a character more visually than having to rely on dialogue. And a natural repetition of certain movements can help us understand how they feel in specific occasions. If you do this enough, you can go from an obvious reaction to a much more subtle one. Without having to say anything, we know how far Mio's self-consciousness goes. All of the girls in K-On! Are given the same treatment, and with this, we get to comprehend them on a psychological level. Like how far Ritsu goes to get attention, or how we think Mugi wants to be a commoner by copying what Ritsu does here, only to realize that it's more complicated than that. From her disappointment here, we can infer that rather than being a commoner, she just wants to be in a situation where she can relate to everyone else. Character animation can also show us how someone has changed. Compare Yui entering high school in her first year, where she aimlessly strolls around with her head in the clouds, to her at the start of her last, where she goes straight to her club room and here, not only can we see Yui's maturity through her motions, but also from how both scenes are put together. The scene in the first season lasts much shorter, with playful transitions and snappy music, while the scene in the second season is more refrained and everything we hear is diegetic. It's this constant improvement in Yamada's direction that makes the show feel as if it's growing with its characters. One of the main reasons why animation is so important, because it's not just about making the actions of a character look smooth. Character animation is a lot like acting, where someone is brought to life by their intricate behavior. And that doesn't always mean the animation has to be dynamic. This is a cut from Sancha Sanyo. While the animation here is definitely difficult to pull off and deserves all the credit it gets, it doesn't let us know more about Futaba as a character. We can tell she's a glutton from what she's carrying, but how she moves doesn't really show us any of her idiosyncrasies apart from the other characters. Not all productions have the time and manpower to animate something like this either, but knowing how to use character animation means knowing how to be efficient with it, and sometimes a lack of it can tell us even more. Like how K-On! Can show us the relationship of three characters just by how Yamada blocks them. In the first episode where Mugi meets Mio and Ritsu, she sits here when there are evidently open seats. It's not until after knowing them for several weeks does she feel close enough to sit beside them. This is one of the things K-On! Is strongest at, and it's something we take for granted when done really well. Showing the status of two people's relationship with one another through something as simple as an armrest. Or the relationship of three with how Mio reacts to Yui handling an iron, compared to her calmness when Mugi is. It's thanks to these nuances, which offer reality to their scenes, that the pockets of moments where they're broken feel more impactful. A lot of K-on's most powerful scenes come from the most capricious elements, combining the theatrics to the realistic. And that sometimes means being imperfect. Don't be afraid to break the flow of a scene, because not only can it help make it stand out, it can also emulate the audience's own experiences. Small stuff like this helps sell the characters' emotions and their objectives visually, letting us, as the audience, get to know them on a personal level. So even when their actions become more opaque, we can put together the pieces and assume what they're feeling. With that, we begin to recognize them as real people, and every action they make feels both justified and sentimental. In any case, the details are everywhere. All you have to do is take the time and get to know them.
1, 2, 3, 4いつもお菓子だけ音符ロックな魂軽音符ハッピーになりたいならば軽音符ニコニコしちゃう軽音符何で会える軽音符ヘロヘロしようよ軽音符友達作れる軽音符軽音符軽音符みんなで入ろう軽音符みんなで入ろう軽音符みんなで入ろう軽音符みんなで入ろう軽音符
오늘은 과한 어떤 멋진 일이 펼쳐질지 설렜던 시기 낚시했지 케이온에게 방향 시기를 난 기억해 방거란 말이 처음으로 설레었던 때 나 역시도 기타를 샀던 건 정말 당연 근데 몇 번 튕긴 후에 구석에 처박혀 누가 내게 기타를 왜 안 치냐 묻는다면 케이온이 끝났는데 내가 대체 왜 기타를 쳐 나 같은 인간들이 결코 한두 명이 아닌 거지 우리가 느낀 건